25 years of silence. 25 years of rejection, and then, one quiet morning, he saw what I had been hiding all along. You won't believe how a lifetime of loyalty turned into the ultimate reckoning. I'm Frank Donovan, 68, retired factory foreman from Cedar Falls, Iowa. Most mornings, I wake with the sun filtering through the curtains, the aroma of coffee drifting across my small kitchen. I shuffle to my garden, hands rough from decades of labor, fingers brushing the worn petals of flowers I've tended for years. My walls are lined with fading photographs, moments frozen in time. Some are happy, others are reminders of what's been lost. I've spent my life working, sacrificing, and giving, often without thanks, and yet, as I sit on my porch, listening to the quiet hum of our small town, there's a shadow that lingers, a betrayal I never thought I'd face. It was my own son, Bradley, 42 now, and for 25 years, he refused my calls, ignored my letters, and dismissed my efforts to reach him. I'd given everything, double shifts at the factory, late nights fixing up our home, putting my health and youth on the line, all for a man who would never acknowledge me. I remember the first time I tried to call him after his mother passed. He answered, and the contempt in his voice cut deeper than any blade. "You're old, Dad. You wouldn't understand." That single line stayed with me, festering like a wound. Every holiday ignored, every birthday passed in silence. It all weighed on me, yet, through it all, I held on to patience, dignity, and hope that someday, he might remember the man who built the life he was born into. And then, one day, I noticed the mansion next door was up for sale. A thought sparked, a quiet, simmering idea that perhaps justice didn't have to be loud. It could be patient, it could be clever, it could be mine. The betrayal hit its peak when I learned that Bradley had tried to erase me from the family entirely. He had siphoned funds from what I thought was secure, dismissed the home I had labored to maintain, and laughed off years of wisdom like an old newspaper. "We don't need you, Dad. Times have changed. You're too old to matter," he had said, voice dripping with arrogance. I sat there, coffee cup trembling in my hands, staring at the empty walls of my home, heartbroken, yes, but I refused to crumble. I had been humiliated, dismissed, and cast aside, but I would not be destroyed. I began my quiet campaign. I researched the mansion, studied the market, and used savings tucked away over decades. Each step was deliberate, calculated, not a move made in anger, but in measured resolve. Every morning, I observed Bradley's arrogance from afar, his fast car, his flashy suits, his smug grins at neighbors, and every morning, I reminded myself, patience is power, wisdom is strength, and dignity can never be bought, but it can be reclaimed. I made my move quietly, signing the papers, taking possession without a sound. No announcements, no dramatics, just a subtle shift in the wind, waiting for the storm to arrive. Soon, Bradley noticed, a subtle glance at the neighbor's property, a whispered question at the local cafe, a frantic text that went unanswered. Panic set in. Modern gadgets couldn't save him from the reality creeping in. He had underestimated me, underestimated age, underestimated experience. He called, emailed, begged, nothing. My calm, composed presence contrasted his crumbling facade. Years of arrogance, of thinking youth alone is power, began to unravel before him. The town began to notice. Murmurs turned into gossip. Bradley's face, once confident and smug, became tight with fear and frustration. The moment of reckoning came at the annual town block party. Neighbors, friends, and even distant family gathered to celebrate our small town's heritage. I strolled past, understated as ever, until a neighbor casually mentioned, "Did you hear, Frank Donovan owns the mansion next door now?" Bradley's face went pale, color draining as realization struck. Whispers spread like wildfire. Years of disrespect laid bare. Community eyes, once indifferent, now watched him crumble. For 25 years, he had mocked me, ignored me, and cast me aside. And now, the house that symbolized his entitlement belonged to me. Cheering erupted from those who understood the story. Years of loyalty and sacrifice vindicated in a single, quiet triumph. Bradley could not escape the truth. Experience, patience, and integrity had conquered arrogance and greed. Bradley is now isolated, stripped of leverage, left to reckon with choices that cost him respect and dignity. And me, I sit on my porch, hands on my knees, looking at the sunset, listening to the hum of the town, feeling peace. Decades of hard work, loyalty, and patience have taught me something simple: life rewards integrity. Even if justice is delayed, I gave, I sacrificed, I persevered, and in the quiet moments, the reward is sweeter than any vengeance could ever be. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that dignity cannot be stolen, patience can be a weapon, and life, even at 68, can still deliver justice in its own quiet way. Share your own stories of late life triumph in the comments below. Remember, no matter your age, resilience, wisdom, and integrity always have the power to reclaim what is yours.